In this video, I'm going to give 3 thoughts to help with people pleasing. Let's just get right into it. The first thought is a question I want you to ask yourself. Do you love yourself more than you care about what they think about you? Do you love yourself more than you care about what they think about you? Do you love yourself more than you care about what they think about you? Notice I did not say love yourself more than you love them. That's where people think, oh, I can't put myself first because that's selfish. I love others just as much, or I want other people to be happy just as much. Notice that often when we're people pleasing, we're afraid of putting ourselves above or in a place where we're better than other people or putting ourselves first. It's like, no, usually we do the opposite. We put ourselves below or underneath others, like they're here and we're here, when really we could just all be here. And let me give you an example. In my own business, I have not raised my rates in 15 months. I hate doing it. I get terrified to do it because I don't want people to think that I'm selfish and not want to work with me anymore. It just feels really uncomfortable. But in the last 15 months, there's been quite a bit of inflation. So I was telling myself this mantra, like, I need to matter to myself more than their opinions matter to me. The crazy thing is too, is you can't read other people's minds. So you never even really know what's in their mind. So what's funny is not only are you putting yourselves below other people's opinions, not even them, but their opinions of you, you don't actually ever even know those opinions. So these are imaginary thoughts. And I've definitely heard this before. I think a lot of people have talked about it. This part is not my own, but your imagination of what's in their head. So in your head, it's like all of this, like not even real things. So again, it's not even about saying you're above someone else. It's that you're putting yourself so far down because you're putting yourself underneath imaginary thoughts. Your love for yourself and your own life and your happiness. It really doesn't even make sense that we do this. And, one could go into evolutionary reasons or trauma and all of this. And of course, there's that. And please get therapy and journal and meditate and do all of that stuff. But sometimes we also just need to call it out, see it black and white, plainly what it is. That's actually the point of this video, is to jar you out of that thinking. I know someone who was working ridiculous hours because they literally did not know how to sign off on their computer at even 11 p.m. And they really were not making much money. And they would work all night because they just didn't know. Other people at their work would sign off, but they had work coming in. And because it's a global company, work really never stopped. And because they lack boundaries in their own life, when it came to work, it was even worse because that can be even more blurry. And I know that some of you might be saying, well, some workplaces really do torture people. Absolutely, they really do. But this person's job would have been completely fine if they just said, I'm going to sign off even 9 p.m., even something still really unreasonable for the salary that they were making. Everything would have been fine. It was their perception of that reality, their perception of what other people would think, which first of all, yeah, maybe people would get pissed off, but oh well, because you value yourself more than you value their opinions. But secondly, they might not have gotten pissed off because guess what? Signing off at 9 p.m. when you started at 7 a.m. when you're not making that much money and it doesn't justify it and it's not a job where actually people are really depending on you, it's not life or death. Yeah, it's fine. And maybe those people would have realized that. So again, the imaginary opinion of others. To the second point, if you are someone very giving, very loving, very nurturing, which a lot of these people-pleasing types sometimes are, ask yourself this. Would you let your dog, your cat, your grandmother, your sibling, your mother or father, your child, your best friend be treated this way? Or would you stand up for them or not let this happen to them? So to this person that I thought was in a pretty bad work situation, I was like, you would not let this happen to your pet. You would not let him go all day without eating. You would not let him go all night without sleeping. Often it's a lot easier to spot mistreatment or to spot situations that need to change or spot areas that we need to take up a little bit more space, ask for something when we externalize that a little bit of I really wouldn't let a loved one go through this, or I wouldn't let, my dog or cat be treated that way. While a lot of these examples had to do with work, That was a total coincidence. Probably one of the main reasons you clicked on this video, maybe because you have issues in your personal life with this. I think that the examples and the theories, the questions, the thought exercise, and the mantra all apply to both though, even though I happen to be talking about two work scenarios. Couple more points. One is that often there really is no threat. I mean, not always, but sometimes it's something as silly as who's going to pick the restaurant. Oh, I don't know. It's fine. You guys choose. Or like not wanting to say your thoughts on a certain musician first. It's like just not feeling safe being ourselves. Now, this really, really does pertain to trauma, because if you were raised in an environment where you did not feel safe being yourself, then you wonder why, I wonder why I'm always some sort of watered down version of myself around other people socially. So that's not even really people pleasing in the sense of just going along with what everyone wants. It's also just not even expressing what you want in the first place. And that's a really uncomfortable place to be in. But part of the reason why I did the thumbnail of Please Stop People Pleasing is that I think the world will be a so much more interesting place if we have more people being their true selves, especially a lot of these very fearful people, and maybe experiment in places that are safe and comfortable at first. You know, for a lot of people, that's just with those very few people that you do feel comfortable around. Those first safe relationships, if you've never had one before, can be so transformative. They literally are transformative. That is one approach to psychology and therapy, is the therapist being that first safe relationship, so that then they realize, hey, you know, I can relate to others in a safe way, and then that translates to others. But that doesn't always have to be in therapy. That can also just be a healing relationship found some other way. But you can find little ways to be yourself in all sorts of ways. I personally find creative expression a wonderfully safe space. Counterintuitively, I think some people find creativity scary, but like as an actor, if you're a little crazy, who cares? You're a character, right? You know, I think Jesse Eisenberg said in an interview that he felt uncomfortable in most situations not acting. Because I don't know, when you're an actor, you have a script. And I also just think artists are given more license to be a little kooky, to push the boundaries a little bit. So what is a safe place for you to be a little bit more of yourself? That is another aspect to this, is instead of being, I keep saying this watered down version of yourself, but you know what it is. It's almost this like mousy, agreeable. There's nothing wrong with being agreeable, but to a point that you're not even letting any uniqueness or authenticity out. We want to stop that ish. And we want to see more of you. So that's why I say, please stop people pleasing for you, and if it helps, those around you, because I think the world is a much better place when you are you. Also, here's a quick update down the line with how those two stories ended up. First of all, I raised my rates, and not only were my clients supportive, one was even happy that I was raising my rates because he felt that it was time for me to do so, and it felt really good. And then the friend of mine that I was discussing having issues setting boundaries did start signing off from work at least slightly more reasonable times, or just when he needed to put work aside, he did that more courageously. And his job was also fine. It doesn't mean that everything's perfect or that it's always easy, but I just wanted to share a couple instances, because maybe there's an instance where you were really, really nervous to stop people pleasing in an area and set a boundary, and then you did so and you realized that everything was fine. Maybe we can even share some of those down in the comments below if you feel comfortable sharing, so that we can support each other, and then also later come back and realize like, hey, it's been okay, because we're almost having to retrain ourselves with this new skill set. It really is learning a new skill. Okay, back to the regular video. Almost done. So be with yourself in your emotions when you do something that's uncomfortable. Like maybe standing up for yourself, sending the email, asking for some sort of better treatment, or even if it's something as simple as signing off the computer. Be in your emotions when you do it. Don't try to escape them because it's uncomfortable, because otherwise you'll keep running away from not only that feeling, but what you probably need to do. And sending you love.